So here's a map in the Lakeway area, and this little fingerling, which is part of Hearst Creek that comes off of Lake Travis, it actually flows into Lake Travis. And at the bottom, you're going to see sort of a light blue with a circle, a dotted red line around it. That's Lakeway City Park, where I normally go fishing. So taking a look at this map, I just want to give you an idea of the tremendous volume of water that came down from July 3rd through July 4th of 2025. So this is a view of what the lake level was like. It might have varied a couple feet. This is a little bit of older picture, but it stayed about at this level. And if you look at the top of the ridge, you'll see some taller plants and a sort of a rock edge that runs around it. So last night, I went to the park to just get an idea of how high the water had gotten in 24 hours. And what I saw astounded me. So this is zoomed in on Lakeway City Park, and you'll see a yellow arrow and a little yellow dot to the left. The yellow dot to the left is where I normally go fishing. And so the view of the previous picture was looking in the direction of the arrow, sort of up into Hearst Creek. And so the view that I'm going to show you from last night is standing somewhere up on the top of that ridge, looking in the opposite direction. So let's take a look. Here's the view again, looking up into Hearst Creek. And this is the water level that used to be just before we got all this rain. And if you look at the top of the ridge, you'll see some tall plants. So the next picture you're going to see is from last night. I was standing up there right next to these tall plants, taking a picture in the opposite direction, and you won't believe how much water is in this area now. So here I am standing on the top of that ridge with those tall plants to my left, and the water level is like within, I would say, 4 to 5 feet of the top, of cresting the top. I mean, consider that volume of water that just had to fill that one area in there, that whole little Finger Peninsula. And now let me move on and just show you something else. So here's a big portion of this river system. And you can see the yellow dot, again, is where I fish. And to the right, you'll see how the water gets real thin and just becomes a line that goes straight down. That's Buchanan Dam. So consider that volume of water, that surface area, and then multiply that by about 20 feet. And you start to get an idea of how much water was poured out of the sky in a 24-hour period. It's mind-boggling. So just to show you, Lakeway City's Park's about 15 minutes from where I live, and about 20 minutes from where I live, in the upper right, circled in yellow, is Mansfield Dam. So, I mean, just the distance between there and between those 2 points, the park and the dam, there's so much water just between there and the dam because of the wideness of the river. It's just amazing. So here's a picture of Mansfield Dam, and it happens to be the largest dam in Texas. And so looking just behind it gives you an idea of how wide the river is, the Colorado River. And they call this section of the river Lake Travis. But again, this entire area rose 20 feet of water in 24 hours. I'm just completely astonished by all of this. So here's a little bit of a wider view showing you Lakeway City Park on the left, where the yellow dot is, and Mansfield Dam on the right. And so that picture of Mansfield Dam was just that little tiny bulb of a section right there. And this entire river system, it's huge. I mean, just this picture is huge, but then it just keeps going north into Lake LBJ, and then into Inks Lake, and then into Lake Buchanan, which is 35 square miles. So, I mean, the water system's enormous, but the amount of water that came into it is just unbelievable. So here's another picture from last night, and these boat docks, which are nearly parallel to the top of that cliff, you would never be able to see them from this vantage point before. You'd have to walk to the edge of the cliff and look down, because they were basically sitting at that lower water level, and they've been risen by all the water. So this is looking up Hearst Creek again from the top of the cliff, and the water is up to all the greenery, and before there were huge portions of just dried out dirt and just a trickle, just a small little stream flowing in. And I happened to catch this rainbow that was forming, and it just kept getting brighter and brighter.